All right. Welcome, everybody, to the PDPreps podcast, episode 2. If you haven't checked out episode 1, make sure you go check them out. Check it out on the Press Democrat YouTube channel or PressDemocrat.com. We talked about our preseason rankings in the last episode. Lots to talk about this week. I'm here with my colleague and co-host, Gus Morris. Gus, week 1 slate. Lots of blowouts throughout the coverage area, but kind of, I guess, we'll get started on that front. What did you really see week 1?
So last week I was at Windsor's opening season win, 41-6 against Tam. Our top, I want to say our top 5, or at least our 4 of our top 5 teams who were in action last week. Casa Grande was off, but all 4 of our teams, Rancho Cotati, Carrillo, Newman, Windsor, and Montgomery all won pretty handily. So Windsor. First game of the Dean Sexton era, got off to a great start. Really kind of thorough win for both sides of the ball. I think 6 different guys had touchdowns. Hayden Anderson had 165 receiving yards, touchdown, all in the first half. Judson, his brother, had a rushing touchdown. Their running backs look really good. I think they were like 3-4 deep. And their defense was great too. They were pitching the shutout, I think, until like second string or third string guys even came in there, towards the end. So great start for Windsor. We had a freelancer over at the Rancho game. They got off to a bit of a slow start, 9-0, and then they rallied back with 42 unanswered points, just kind of, doing what Rancho does. Big game from Saivat Wale. Liam Keeney had 5 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. Probably a sample of what's to come for them this year. Carrillo Newman didn't get a whole lot of, we got some details from their 34-7 win at San Leandro. Big game from Santino Acevedo. I think he had like 6 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Huge game for him. He's going to be, a monster this season. Really tough for local teams to deal with. Montgomery, 27-0 shutout of visiting Ukiah, who we think Ukiah is probably going to be one of the better teams in the NBL Redwood, but Montgomery really kind of handled them with ease. It kind of seemed like a couple interceptions. I think 2 for Colton Whitestein. I know that their Montgomery's quarterback, Lucas Foy, left, I think, at halftime with like a foot injury. I haven't heard about his status for this week's games, but hopefully it's nothing too serious and he'll be back full strength because he's a big part of what makes them run. But a few other notable results too. I mean, St. Vincent, who you picked to win, I did not, up at St. Bernard's. They came away with the win.
That's right.
33-7. 33-7. I know St. Bernard's was missing a few guys, but still a really, really impressive win for St. Vincent to kind of kick the season off. Shout out Kai Hall, senior running back, who you also profiled earlier in the season, but he's now the all-time leading rusher in St. Vincent's school history, and he's still gunning for a few other All-Empire marks as well. So good start to his season, good start to St. Vincent's season. If any other trends, I'm trying to look at. NBL Oak played really well. You got something, Keenan?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to say, obviously, everybody's saying that the Press Democrat picked against us, but I'll let it be known that I picked St. Vincent to win. I was going to say, it seemed like the trend here was the NBL Oak played very well, but there were some surprising results on the Redwood side. Obviously, you said Ukiah was shut out, but both Healdsburg and Pioneer was shut out as well. Something that we never really expected, especially from Pioneer, considering their offense they have an amazing offense, and Coach Terrence Bell is amazing. But Healdsburg as well shut out, I believe 44-0 by Fort Bragg. Something we really something like that. But something we never really expected, especially when we were doing our predictions there.
Well, we both got those games wrong, and again, I'm a Healdsburg grad, and I love Healdsburg, but I know that program's kind of it's had a tough go of things the last couple of years, and again, shrinking school size, I know how it goes, and so I wouldn't say I was overly surprised. I guess I was pretty surprised by how badly they lost. So I was talking with Cloverdale head coach too, and Cloverdale also lost pretty badly to Ripon Christian, who's a really good smaller school team out of Sac-Joaquin. But I was talking with him kind of earlier in the season for some of our previews, and we were talking about kind of how much, in high school football, high school sports, things, change drastically from year to year. But for some of those smaller teams in the North Central League, like Fort Bragg, like Willits, who Piner lost to again with in a shutout. And then even Cloverdale too. It's like those small schools can just vary year to year how much, like you can have a winless team one year and then, go off and win league or something in the NCL. So talking with the Cloverdale head coach, Taylor Galloway, earlier or before the season started, he was saying, he's like, Willits might be pretty good this year. So that was kind of one of my toss-up games where I kind of thought, I think I even had Willits. I picked them to win, and then I think I had gone back and because again I was kind of with you.
Dude, you didn't. Yeah, okay.
I know. On paper it still says Piner. So
you picked Piner. You picked the prospectors.
I did pick Piner. I had Willits first, then I changed it. But no, I mean, again, I'm with you. I thought Piner's offense was going to kind of be a lot more dynamic, but I don't know. I do think that Willits could be one of those teams that maybe rises to the top this year in the NCL, where I don't think might be a bit of a vacuum, but one of the teams too over there to watch is St. Helena, who I didn't, again, I think I talked about them in my analysis piece on Saturday, but they lost a lot of guys from last year. I think they lost 9 all-league guys, and it wouldn't be a huge stretch to say that they would have taken a step back, but they shut out Justin Sienna, who's, was in the D6 title game last year. Sure. So that was a big one as well. So Willits, St. Helena, I know, again, we're one game into the season here, but NCL could, I think 2 of those teams could probably be near the top. But like you were saying, though, Redwood did kind of struggle last week. 3 shutouts. I mean, Healdsburg, Pine, Ukiah, Maria Carrillo's off. And then, but I mean, again, I think that Ukiah met a really tough team in Montgomery, and I think they'll be better. But I mean, again, after the first week, I think it's St. Vincent's league to win right now. So
sure, and obviously, I mean, we talk about the NBL so much, but it seems like the VVAL is kind of up in the air a little bit, considering Casa Grande had a bye week 1. Obviously, Petaluma did we win week 1, and we've noticed an improved squad from them this year, coming off from last year. Anything you got from that week 1 win for Petaluma?
Well, so I didn't see it. I just got some, stats reported to me, but, I mean, Terra Linda, another one of those programs from Marin that's not, it kind of up and down every year. And, they're not, usually towards the bottom of the MCAL. But, 41 points against that team. And I think Petaluma had something like almost like 500 yards of total offense. So yeah, did what they should have done. Silas Polidori just had a huge game. He had like 200 yards on I think it was something like 12 touches or something like that, like crazy. So he had a huge game. So I know that their quarterback Henry Ellis didn't pass the ball super well, but he did have 3 rushing touchdowns. So big dual threat guy there. It's just kind of looking around the rest of the VVAL. I mean, Petaluma again probably should have won that game. I know American Canyon won. I think they did. Don't hold me to that. American Canyon is one of those VVAL schools where it's like they're in the VVAL, but we don't really pay a lot of attention to them just because they're over in Napa.
Sure.
Yeah, but then also like Sonoma Valley, I know lost to center. We'll kind of see. I know their head coach is really high on their squad this year, but we'll kind of see. I know they're really young. Casa Grande was off last week. They open up on Friday as hosting Maria Carrillo. And then I want to say Vintage lost to San Ramon Valley pretty bad. This has always been the thing since the VVAL was created in 2018. It's kind of been it's been kind of a one-team race. It's been Vintage I think won it for the first 3 years and pretty handily at that. And last year Casa Grande knocked them off for the first time. And that's kind of in my conversations with VVAL coaches, that's kind of who people see as being the top two teams is being a Vintage and Casa Grande, and maybe American Canyon gets thrown in there too. I know Napa just also won their first game, but I still maybe think that there may be an echelon below, maybe 2 echelons below. But that, I mean, again, it's week 1, so we're kind of drawing a lot of conclusions off of just whatever here. But no, I mean, again, Vintage played a really tough team in San Ramon Valley. I think they'll be really good this year. They'll be in the hunt. And then I think, I mean, again, we'll see what I do think Casa Grande will handle business this week against Maria Carrillo, but it'll be interesting to kind of see what they look like kind of in their first game after. First game of the season, kind of after, again, they lost a lot of guys from last year's team that won the VVAL. So
sure.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens this week, but
yeah. Lots of stuff going on week 1 right off the bat, going to make for an exciting high school football season, especially now that we're kind of like back to normalcy. But Let's look ahead to week 2 a little bit. Obviously, we had a change. We updated our rankings, and before we get into the rankings, Gus, people are taking notice and are reading our rankings. And I know you had a little bit of an experience in the game of the week last week.
Yeah, so over at Windsor, so we ranked them third, which I don't think is a huge stretch. You know, I mean, a lot of places have them like third in the area. But yeah, no, when I was kind of getting set up, Hayden Anderson and I think one of the other, the star wide receiver for Windsor, and I think one of the other players kind of came up to me before the game and were saying, "So you had us third, huh?" We saw that. So they saw that, and then they went on to beat Tam 41-6. And I think in the fourth quarter, when a lot of the starters were on the sidelines too, they were, I was kind of around a bunch of the starters, and they were saying pretty loudly, like, "Pretty good for the number 3 team, huh?" So
yeah, exactly.
Maybe some motivation there that they're using on that, which is great. I mean, again, prove us wrong. That's, I love to be proved wrong. And again, I think the rankings also for our Windsor people too. Sorry, you guys are still number 3 this week. Yeah. So kind of getting into that, I guess, too. So again, top 3 kind of all remain the same. Rancho Cotati 1, Newman 2, Windsor 3. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. I mean, again, they all won. They all beat good opponents pretty handily. Kind of played out how we kind of thought it would. But a little movement there at 4 and 5. So we I wrote this in our rankings too this week, but it feels bad for Casa Grande to drop out just because they started sort of a week later. But I kind of had to include St. Vincent, right? I think we had to include St. Vincent this week in our top 5, just because of what they did at St. Bernard's. St. Bernard's is going to be one of the best teams in Division 5 in the NCS this year, and again, might have been missing a few guys to transfer. A guy, just in the sit out period, and then I think their starting running back was also out too, and they're going to play again here in Petaluma in October. And Trent Herzog, your head coach, told me, he's like, I expect next time around it will not be a 26-point win for them. So again, not sure how much that would have changed the result. I think it would have been a bit of a closer game, but still going on the road and beating a team like that. I think St. Vincent deserves to be in our top 5. So St. Vincent comes in at number 5, and then Montgomery scoots up a spot to number 4 as well. So overall, Rancho 1, Newman 2, Windsor 3, Montgomery 4, St. Vincent 5.
Yeah, and if you missed our preseason rankings, we had Rancho 1, Newman 2, Windsor 3, and then we had Casa Grande at 4, and then Montgomery at 5. So just kind of a little bit of precursor. Again, you can check out all of our preseason rankings at pressdemocrat.com. That's where they'll be in /sports / PDPreps.
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
It certainly is a mouthful. But just looking ahead again to week 2, our game of the week this week is going to be Rancho Cotati at home versus Redwood. Redwood finished kind of middle of the pack last year in the MCAL, but they always are competitive. And then Gus I will be taking that. I also did one of our second installment of the 100-yard walks video series, our new video series where we kind of take a walk along the field with either a player or the coach from different teams around the coverage. I think it's pretty cool. We got some good reactions the first time around. So I'll be with that along with the game of the week previews. Gus, you're going to be at Annalee versus San Marin, which is actually going to be a really good MCAL and NBL crossover game.
Yeah, so that was one team I actually didn't. I forgot to mention kind of in our little review of week 1, but Annalee had itself quite an opener. They put up 67 points in a huge win over Pinole Valley. I think their quarterback Sammy Long was like 19 for 23, 260 yards, like 3 touchdowns, like just kind of like
that kid can throw. Yeah,
picked them apart. So. Yeah, and that's talking again to some coaches around the area. People are like looking at Annalee being like they have some firepower this year, and again they came off of a kind of a weird year last year again with the school consolidation. We keep mentioning that, but I think it bears mentioning every time we talk about them because it was a weird offseason trying to get everyone together, merging staffs, merging teams, just a weird kind of offseason. So I think again, kind of like Newman, where they have a full offseason with their new head coach. Or their second-year head coach now. I just a whole offseason to kind of gel together is really looking like it's already paying dividends for Annalee. So you're going to be at Rancho Cotati Redwood. Should also mention too. So you Malik Cleveland was your subject this week for the 100-yard walk. UC Davis commit. Cool, good interview again. Go check that out on our YouTube channel at Press Democrat YouTube channel. I can talk. But yeah, so I'll be over at Annalee San Marin. That should be a really good one. San Marin is the defending CIF Division 5 AA champs. They had, again, one of their best seasons ever last year. Section champs, state champs. Their running back is over at Fresno State now, Justin Gwynn. And they actually lost their opener too last week to Acalanes, but Acalanes is also a very, very, very talented program from the Bay Area. So it'll be I don't quite know what to expect. I know, again, we saw San Marin a little bit, or I saw them during the off season at a 7-on-7 camp. Their quarterback, kind of an interesting storyline, because so San Marin's quarterback from last year, Joey Cook, is now over at Marin Catholic. He transferred over there. And then San Marin's starting quarterback now, or I believe he plays most of their snaps, is Dominic Ingracia, whose older brother, Michael Ingracia, used to be, or was, Marin Catholic starting quarterback last year when Marin Catholic won state. So anyway, so just the Marin sports scene is always kind of funny over there with MC and San Marin. San Marin is
always really is.
Yeah, I know you're a Marin guy, so you know all about that.
Always is.
San Marin has really emerged as kind of this really next, a really good competitor to Marin Catholic. So this will be a really, really big test for Annalee. And we'll see if they're up for it. Annalee kind of figures maybe to be like a dark horse team in the NBL Oak. It's going to be tough going for them once they get to league, again, having to play Rancho, Newman, and Windsor, even Montgomery. So this will be a really kind of good early season test for them. So we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Going to be some fun games on the slate this week. Let's get into our predictions a little bit, kind of to wrap this up. We are keeping track, so there's a little bit of pride on the line right now. Gus finished 9-4 last week. I finished 7-6, so Gus has the upper hand as of now, but that could change. You never know. Starting off with Bethel versus Montgomery, which is being held at Vallejo, something that is kind of rare here, but both of us chose Montgomery for that one, Gus.
Yeah, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I think Montgomery is just a better team than Bethel. That's just all it is.
Maria Carrillo and Casa Grande both get their season started playing each other. Casa Grande is going to be the home team. Going to be interesting to see how Maria Carrillo comes out. I've heard a lot of improvement coming out of their camp, but then again, Casa Grande, the defending VVAL champs, both of us have Casa Grande in that one. Same
thing as Bethel Montgomery. Just I think Casa's better. Sorry, Carrillo.
Wow, great analysis, Gus. I love it. A little bit of inter-county action here. Cloverdale's taking the trip down 101 to Piner. Obviously, Gus, we didn't see Piner's offense have that firepower that they're known for, but hopefully they can change it around. We're split in this one. I have Piner because I do feel like their offense can really get going, but Gus, you got the guys from up north.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like Cloverdale this year. I mean, again, neither of those teams really kind of got their offense going last year. Cloverdale lost like 48-7. I want to say to Ripon Christian, who again is a really talented team out of the Sac Joaquin section. So, we'll see. I mean, again, I'm higher on Cloverdale this year. Again, I think that last week's game was just they ran into a tough opponent. Piner probably the same thing too in Willits, but I don't know. I just kind of one of those gut feels. I'm like, give me some Cloverdale. I think.
Or is it a Piner thing? Do you just not like Piner, or what's going on here?
I don't know. It's we can't agree on every pick, Keenan. So I'm going with Cloverdale this week.
Northgate travels to Ukiah. We have Ukiah both in this one. We think Ukiah can bounce back after a tough loss to Montgomery.
Yeah, I know it's kind of funny with travel, but it's like Northgate. I don't know. That's got to be like a 3.5 hour drive just to get up to Ukiah. Yeah. It's far away. So again, I know they're probably gonna get up there quick, but Ukiah just kind of has some built-in home field advantage, just kind of with being a little separated from everyone here in North Bay up in Mendocino. So and again, I from what I could tell talking to our freelancer who covered the game last week, the Ukiah Monty game. Ukiah has some good pieces, just Montgomery just kind of shut them all out. So I don't know a ton about Northgate. I know that last year they were they actually almost upset. Or no, that was Las Lomas. I think they got to like the second round. I want to say like in the NCS playoffs before, and I think they lost to Windsor. I don't quote me on that, but so they're a playoff team. But from what I've read, I think they have a lot of guys who graduated from last year. So yeah, I'm going Ukiah this week.
Sure. Game of the week: Redwood at Rancho Cotati. Both of us have Rancho Cotati. That we think they keep their number one spot. I mean, obviously their offense last week kind of took over after that punch to the mouth they took from Las Lomas.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, up until I don't think Rancho is really going to be challenged a ton until they play Vanden in a couple weeks. Vanden is they were the team that actually beat Windsor last year in the state playoffs, and they actually went on to win a state championship. They're again. I've seen a lot of rankings too, and they're one of like the top 10. I want to top 10, top 15 teams in the San Joaquin section. So, yeah, I mean, again, Redwood has a good quarterback in Brady Weingart, but Rancho just has weapons all over the field, and I just don't think Redwood will be able to keep up with them. So, Rancho by a few, I'd say.
I agree. Second game here, San Marin at Annalee. We kind of touched on this already. Big test for Annalee, but we both have San Marin. I think San Marin's just got too much firepower for him.
I'm kind of with you on that one too. And again, it's it's always tough kind of picking against local teams here. But yeah, I mean again, San Marin is again defending state champions. Again, they lost a lot of pieces from last year's team, but they always I think that they've kind of reloaded this year. Again, good quarterback. They have a lot more speed and skill on the outside than they have in past years. They always have a huge line. They have a couple guys who are just massive, returners. So, but I kind of think that this could be a toss-up. I mean, this could be a bit of a pick-em, but I do think it's going to be San Marin in the end.
Yeah. Interesting crossover here for the NBL and VVAL. We got Santa Rosa at Petaluma. Keep in mind that game is being played Thursday, September 1st. So this recording is happening on Wednesday, the 31st of August. That game is being played tomorrow at 7 p.m. Interesting game here, Gus, but we both went Petaluma.
Yeah, so the game's being played Thursday due to a ref shortage, which is something that we're probably going to touch on at some point this season. But there have been lots of games already that I've seen that have been rescheduled to Thursdays or Saturdays. Ref shortage didn't get any better after COVID last year. So yeah, we're starting to see that affect a game here locally. Side note to this game too, this is the longest running rivalry in Sonoma County. Santa Rosa and Petaluma are two of the oldest high schools that we have in the county. I don't know how many years it's been played. I think when Santa Rosa head coach was Roy Keegan was actually tweeting about that today. I think it's been played since like the 1800s. I want to say long time.
Yeah. I don't.
Time. Like Roy, I don't know what the first game was played in 1892. So I don't know what the quick math on that is, but like 130 years.
I'm not good at math. That's why I'm a journalist. So
exactly, we're writers, not mathers here. So I kind of coming off last week. Santa Rosa lost by a couple scores to San Rafael. I think they could be probably headed for a bit of a rebuilding year this year. So I think Petaluma takes this one.
The Cardinals head to Vacaville, and we both have Cardinal Newman taking that one based off of last week. It just seems like Santino Acevedo is running the ball really well, and Cardinal just gets it done.
Yeah, and Vacaville is going to be a really tough challenge. They're, again, like Vanden, they're one of the top teams in the San Joaquin section. A lot of people are really high on them this year. This is going to be a huge test for Newman. And I don't think it's going to be anything close as much of a rollover game as it was last week against San Leandro. So kind of also a pick 'em here. I could see it going either way. But yeah, I think Newman's defense is really what's gonna kind of solidify this here. So I think last week they had a couple interceptions, few sacks too. I think I even saw, and yeah, Santino was just an animal. So yeah, I think just those factors alone, I think Newman's going to have the edge, but I think it's going to be close.
Yeah. Oakland at Sonoma Valley. We're sticking with Sonoma Valley on this one, Gus. What do you say?
Yeah, again, I don't know a whole lot about Oakland. I know that they lost their opener, or I think they lost their opener pretty badly last week, if I remember correctly. And yeah, Sonoma Valley had a few. Oh wait, no, they have not played it. Just kidding. But I do think that Sonoma Valley, they're super young. They have a lot of guys who are, or a lot of juniors this year who are logging heavy playing time. A guy last week who had a great game was sophomore Hudson Giarita, I think is how you pronounce it. Sophomore wide receiver had like 70 yards, touchdown, 85-yard kickoff return too. Their head coach is super high on him. Sonoma Valley's quarterback Trent Oman had like 240 yards, touchdown and a pick. Again, I don't know a whole lot about Center, who they played last week, or Oakland, who they play this week, but I think that Sonoma Valley is like, they have some juice, and I think that this could be the game that kind of gets on the board for gets them in the win column this week. So I'm going Sonoma Valley.
Yep, same here for those exact same reasons. Now, Windsor goes to Escalon. Escalon, another Sac Joaquin powerhouse, where it was finished first in the Trans Valley League last year. We both got Windsor, but Gus, man, this is going to be a huge test for a number 3 team.
Yeah, I mean Escalon. This is gonna be a long trip for them too. I'm sure they're gonna leave at like 10 a.m. or something on Friday. But Escalon, like you said, so it's Division 5, or I think it's Division 5, Sac Joaquin section powerhouse. They've I think they went pretty deep in the state, or in the NCS, and maybe even state playoffs last year. I don't know off the top of my head, but again, a smaller team though, just being in Division 5, but again, Central Valley teams just really kind of have some grit and blue collar to them that, not saying Sonoma teams don't have that, but it's just a different kind of caliber, different style of play out there. So I think kind of like Newman, I think this will be a really good test for Windsor on the road this week, playing against a good, powerhouse team from out of the area. So maybe it could also be a pick 'em, but from what I saw last week with Windsor, I don't think there's been really much drop off at all from last year. I think they have a lot of firepower still. I think their defense is was a huge plus last week. The Tams quarterback last year only had four total interceptions, and he almost had that many last week against Windsor. So I think Windsor is just kind of built to, we use the term reloaded a lot, but I think Windsor has really just reloaded this year as well. So I think it's probably a touchdown game. If it's more than that, I'd be maybe a little surprised, but yeah, I think Windsor takes this one too.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are all the games happening on Friday. Friday, bar Santa Rosa and Petaluma, who play tomorrow. We head into Saturday. We have 2 games on the slate for Saturday, starting with Healdsburg at Novato. I have Healdsburg. I think that their speed is just going to be too much for Novato. But Gus, you have the Hornets.
I do, and again, it hurts me to pick against my.
No, it doesn't.
It hurts me to pick against my alma mater here, but this is also a competition night, and I am going to beat you this season if you didn't ever pick. So
okay.
just from what I saw, or from what I kind of heard from a reporter who was at the game last week, I think. I'm sorry, Healdsburg. I'm going to have to go to Novato this week.
Man, Greyhound Nation's not going to be too happy with you, my friend. Last game of the week on Saturday, man. This is an interesting one because St. Vincent goes to Nevada, Incline Village, Nevada. We don't know much about Incline, but we're sticking with the Mustangs and that firepower on offense.
Yeah, I think St. Vincent taught me last week to not pick against them, and that was actually, again, talking to Trent Herzog after the game. He he said that they were using my pick against them as some motivation for their game against St. Bernard. So lesson learned, Trent. I will be going with St. Vincent this week. I do think that, again, last week they looked really, or they again, from what I gathered from the game, they looked really damn impressive. A lot of guys, got into the action against St. Bernard's. And again, we don't really know anything about Incline Village. We know that they lost their opener 21-6 to Sparks. But again, this, we're talking about teams in Nevada that, just not exactly in our wheelhouse of knowledge here. But no, I think St. Vincent is prime for a really big season. And I think that they're going to go to 2-0 this week. So.
Well, hey, I mean, look, since you're their main course of motivation, you might as well not pick them this week again. So, I mean,
that's true.
If they lose, they're going to blame it on you because you did pick them and you didn't motivate them enough. I mean,
that's true. Actually, if I do keep picking picking against them and they keep winning, then I can just take credit for all of their wins then. So I think that's
a classic Gus Morris move, everybody. But yeah, so I think overall, I think it's an exciting week 2 slate. I mean, the season's already been exciting just after 1 week, but we finally get to see some real tests for some teams in the coverage area, and it'll be a fun week of games, don't you say?
Yeah. I think that this is kind of where we're going to start to see, some of these top teams be tested. I mean, again, week 1 openers, you just kind of want to, open the season with a win, have some of your guys, like get into the game, get some action in. But I think this week schedule kind of really starts to heat up. I mean, Windsor Escalon was a game that I had circled kind of early on as, one of the top games to watch this year. And I think that Newman Vacaville is also going to be one of those games too. So, and then again, just kind of some fun local matchups. I mean, again, Santa Rosa, Petaluma, oldest running rivalry in Sonoma County. Endless and Marin, again, kind of, Sonoma, Marin kind of battled there. Same thing with, Redwood Rancho. And then things really kind of start to heat up next week too. But we'll touch on all that in our next podcast next week. But I think that was kind of a good synopsis of what happened week 1 and what we're looking forward to in week 2.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we appreciate all you guys for listening. We honestly, we're getting some great feedback about the first episode. I know you guys want us to do more of this, so that's why we're here. You keep in mind you can follow all of our game preview coverage as well as our game coverage at pressdemocrat.com/sports/PDPreps, as well as we will have live updates on Twitter. Gus as just Gus PD, myself as KO Doherty 22. We'll be having video, things of that nature, pulling out full packages, and then we'll have game recaps posted and roundups posted at the end of Friday nights or Saturday nights, whenever those games may be. So that's it for us. We appreciate you guys for watching and or listening, and we'll see you next time on the next episode.